welcome to my video from Auto Garage Life, and today doing something fun. We're going to be installing and preparing these side scoops that I picked up. These are the genuine Ford stick-on side scoops. They're fake, of course, and they'll kind of mimic the old Shelby ones that you used to get. And first thing I need to do with these is prepare them for paint. I've got a high performance white to match the car, so I'm going to scuff these up, sand them all back, put on a coat of primer, and put on a coat of high performance white, and then cover them in gloss, and then we'll stick them onto the car. So let's see how we do the prep for these little things. These are quite expensive actually. I think they're a couple $100 each from CJ Pony Parts or somewhere like that. I'll put a link in the description below, but I was lucky to pick these up off a guy in one of the Mustang clubs here in the UK, so got them a bit cheaper. But of course, we need to paint them ourselves, so let's crack on. Right, so here's pretty much everything we're going to need for this job. And it starts on the left with the sandpaper, and on the right we've got some body filler and sanding block and some filler applicators there. So the sanding paper that I've got starts off with the heaviest grit going down to the 1200, but I've also got some 2000 grit for the end because we're spraying off an aerosol can onto plastic, so chances are it's going to have some orange peel, possibly at the paint stage, but more than likely definitely at the clear coat stage, which we'll use this for. So start off kind of around this area. I've also got some other grades of sandpaper that I've had lying around, 240 grit as well, so I've got various ones in between here. If we need to sand the primer, we'll go for 600, and the paint will go from 1200 to 2000 once we do the clear coat. And then we've got a sanding block here, which you can use for any stage. I usually use that at either the paint or the clear coat stage, just to make sure you get a smooth finish. And for the little stone chips that we've got, we'll use some body filler here, just to cover that nicely. So there we go, that's pretty much everything you need, including the paint as well. Right, and the paint that we'll be using, we've got some plastic primer in white. We've got the high performance white paint I got custom made from Touch Up Paint Factory, and we've got some clear lacquer for the end. So one spray can should be more than enough to cover these two vents. So probably go for 1 or 2 coats of primer, 2 to 3 coats of base coat, and 2 to 3 coats of lacquer. Okay, you might not pick this up on camera, but this one has got a few little chips in it that, don't be fooled, painting over them, they're still going to show up. So I'm going to sand this one down. I've got some filler that I'm just going to put over the top of these chips, then we'll sand it down again. This one, on the other hand, doesn't, that's just a scratch there. This one's pretty perfect, no blemishes whatsoever. So wee bit of filler, and then we'll crack on with the rest of the sanding. Right, and what we'll do is, I don't know how old these are, so I'm painstakingly scraping off the old 3M tape. It looks as if it's been on there for a while. It looks as if someone spray painted them black with this tape on it, which is fine, but I just don't know how old it is, therefore how long it will last. So I'm going to scrape all this off and put some brand new stuff on. Do this now before I wreck the new paint. So we'll scuff these up with 240 grit. This one does have a few blemishes in them, as you can see, which we'll put some filler on, and then we'll scuff them up again before we put primer on them. But before I do all of that, scrape off all of this. I'm not going to video it, it's very tedious, very boring. Give it a spray with some Goo Gone or something like that, and use a gasket scraper and just painstakingly get that stuff off there. Alright, so that's me got on about 3 to 4 coats of base coat. I just used the full can of aerosol for both of these. Now, it's come out pretty good. It's not absolutely perfect. There are a few little spots, but nothing that would really draw attention to anything. And it's been drying now for a good few hours. I think we're going to whack it with a clear coat now. And chances are I'll probably have to do a little bit of wet sanding on the clear, just because I'm doing it from an aerosol can and it is painting on plastic. So we will see. We'll put on a coat just now and we'll leave it dry, and then we'll come out and see how it looks. And we'll put on 2 to 3 coats of clear. So let's go. Okay, so that's the clear coat dry, and as you can probably see by the lighting there, as suspected, we've got orange peel. But it's a good finish, decent finish for a spray can, and I'm pretty happy with it in general. And what we'll do is we'll give this a sanding down with probably 2000 grit, because it's not too bad. I've seen a lot worse than this before from spray cans. And then we'll give it a polish with the buffer, with the orbital polisher, and it will come out just like that paint there. Okay, so let's crack on with that. 2000 grit, and it's wet sanded. You just dip it into the water and then start sanding. Very lightly though, because you want it just to glide over the paint and not lean too hard. You go through the clear coat at this point, you're back to square one. And be careful along these edges, because there's less paint on the edges than there is here, so lean even lighter when you're going around any sharper edges. And it's good advice to check your work, so don't keep sanding and sanding and sanding until you think it looks good. Wipe it off every now and again. So it'll look a bit duller than it did before, that's the idea. and then what you do is you polish it all up nicely and it will look spectacular. Alright, so last step, and I'm polishing these off the car just in case I need to go back and sand them again, but just to show you it's a bit easier because it's raining today anyway, so I'll do this indoors and polish them off the car. Orbital polisher, buffing pad, and I've got some Meguiar's compound polish here, but you can use any polish that you want. And we're going to polish both of these up and it will bring them back to a mirror finish to match the rest of the car. See if we can pick this up on camera. You see the light on that one there, which is not polished, versus this one here, which is becoming almost mirror-like. I've just went over this for a couple of passes with a compound, but you can see there, you can barely see the reflection of the garage there. But this one, coming on. I've done half this one, so you can see there's a good example. It's dull at the bottom there, starting to get a mirror finish there, see that? And I've only been over this a couple of times. Well, quite a few more passes to do to get a mirror finish. Looking good. Made a few more passes, and as you can see it's becoming even more clear. Look at that. There's my LED light on the ceiling there. I don't know if I can catch it in the picture, but it's becoming to look pretty straight. Still a bit wavy, still a bit not as clear as it should be, but we have more passes to come. Here's the before. Nothing. And here is the after. Quite a big difference, eh? So don't panic if you do this yourself and you end up looking like this, dull, flat, no reflection. Chances are if you've used an aerosol can, that's the finish you're going to get, this one here. But with the right sanding and patience and polishing, it can come out to this. And we're not even finished yet. I will get it to a stage when it's mirror finished. Let's keep going. Patience, 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 that's all it takes here. Okay, I'll try and show this on camera if I can. There's my LED light in that one. And if I move over here, you can just see, you can barely see even the light in that one. So the difference is huge. So this isn't finished yet. Keep watching to the end of the video and I'll do this again. And we'll see how much of a difference this makes. You can actually see, I don't know if you pick it up on camera, you can see the individual LEDs now in the light. And that's just with compound polish and the rotary polisher and some wet sanding at 2000 grit. Maybe a wee bit to do at the bottom there, you see that? A wee tiny bit there. We'll sort that out before we put this in the car. But my gauge on this is once I can see the clarity of the LEDs and the clarity in the light, that's us good enough. That's good enough for me. So this is good enough now to go into the car. Doesn't take too long, but you can see a massive difference. And that's the step you need to do if you use an aerosol can. You maybe need to do that with a spray gun as well, but maybe lesser extent. So let's finish off this one, same way, and we'll get these on the car. done now, and you can see the LED light clearly there in both. I can get it in focus, there we go. So I'll give them a final kind of finishing polish as well, just by hand. And whee, there we are. That's both ready to go onto the car.